What tends to happen is if you have a boom that goes on for too long, you get misallocation of capital. It starts raining money on fools, basically. It's like any dumb thing gets money. And I'm sure you've seen a few of those. At some point, it gets just out of control and you just have a misallocation of human capital where people are doing things that are silly and not useful to their fellow human beings. Make sure you're not running things too close to the edge from a capital standpoint, that you've got some capital reserves to last through irrational times. But I think we probably are in a recession, and that recession will get worse.
In this video, Elon Musk has a warning for investors that we're probably in a recession. 12 to 18 months of pain seem inevitable, that many companies will be going bankrupt in the next year or two, and why this is a good thing, and why this is an enormous opportunity for companies that are actually A, useful, and B, provide value. So let's get into it. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, there's a bunch of ways you can support the channel, access exclusive content and perks. Check out the links in the pinned comment below. If you want to take it to the next level, join thousands of members on Patreon to gain exclusive access to over 100 Q&A videos, loads of exclusive content, exclusive access to my up-to-date 10-year Tesla stock price targets, and even access my Tesla valuation model at the investor support level and above. You can also pick up some Tesla, Elon, and investment themed merch in the merch store. So check out the links in the pinned comment below, and thanks for your support. This was Elon Musk on Twitter, December 31st, 2021. Quote, "If history is any guide, not many will make it past the next recession." Let's take a moment to talk about this. Not many. What's another way of saying not many? Very few companies will make it past the next recession. Can anyone think of any companies right now that have a few Mount Everests in a row to climb before they actually start profitably producing products? If they survive, who are likely to need to continually raise capital for many years to come, who face so many incredible challenges along the way that even without a recession, the probability of bankruptcy was high. Companies who are attempting to catch up to one of the most innovative companies of all time, that would be Tesla. Now, I'm not going to name any names because if I were to name names, I'd probably drop names like Rivian and Lucid and Fraudstown Motors and Nikola and name your other EV startup. I'd also probably mention companies like General Motors, Ford, Toyota, Hyundai, Kia, but I'm not going to mention any names because why would I do that? I just wanted to ask everyone watching if you could think of any companies who might be in a precarious situation, needing to spend incredible amounts of capital. I mean, many billions, tens of billions of dollars per year, just have a fighting chance of not going bankrupt later, and then a recession in the midst of that, making it harder to raise capital, if it's even possible at all. Just something to think about. After posting this tweet, Elon was asked, "When do you think the next recession will be?" Elon Musk responding with his best SMR impersonation, making an audacious prediction out loud that turns out to be on the fucking money. I did just say that out loud. Deal with it. Predicting macroeconomics is challenging, to say the least. My gut feel is maybe around spring or summer of 2022, but no later than 2023. For those who aren't aware, I'm currently recording this video in late May 2022. Elon asked just a couple of days ago, "Do you still think we're approaching a recession?" Elon responding, "Yes, but this is actually a good thing. It has been raining money on fools for too long." Special shout out to Steve Burns of Fraudstown Motors and Trevor Meltdown Milton of Nikola Motors. Of course, these are ex-Fraudstown and ex-Nikola due to the whole, Department of Justice and allegations of fraud and that whole thing. Some bankruptcies need to happen. Also, all the plague-related stay-at-home stuff has tricked people into thinking that you don't actually need to work hard. Rude awakening inbound. Elon also asked how long does he think this recession will last? Quote, "Based on past experience, about 12 to 18 months. Companies that are inherently negative cash flow, i.e. value destroyers, need to die so that they stop consuming resources." Elon Musk also spoke in detail about his thoughts on a recession, are we in one, what happens, and so on at the recent All-In Summit.
Where do you think the economy is headed right now? Do you think we're in a recession, or is it just a risk? How do you assess our current economic situation?
Well, predicting macroeconomics is always difficult, and one should assign probabilities to these things. But ironically, I did last year. People asked me what I think about the economy. I said, well, I think we might enter a recession in approximately spring of 2022.
Called it, nailed it.
Yeah. So, now the thing is that recessions are not necessarily a bad thing. I've now been through a few of them, and what tends to happen is if you have a boom that goes on for too long, you get misallocation of capital. It starts raining money on fools, basically. It's like any dumb thing gets money, and I'm sure you've seen a few of those.
In completely unrelated matters, this has absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with money raining down on fools. Here's a tweet from Ross Gerber back in August 2021, quoting a Bloomberg headline. Electric truck company Rivian has filed for an IPO and it's seeking a roughly $80 billion valuation. Ross's back of the envelope math here. So that makes Tesla worth $8 trillion by these metrics. Elon responding, I thought 1999 was peak insanity, but 2021 is 1000% more insane. Sub-obnoxious prick with 3 first names here. Put this info, I don't even know, this seems to be a bell curve. What are we looking at here? Standard scores, this must be an IQ. So in the middle, we've got average. At low average, we've got 1999. In 2021, we've got low. And very low, we have Nikola Motor Corporation. I think what this guy was suggesting here is that there's a lot of absolutely brain-dead, quote-unquote, investors currently throwing money at fools, in particular Nikola Motor Corporation, just as a random example. And Elon Musk responding, pretty much. Of course, this asshole was completely wrong. As you can see on screen right now, Nikola Corporation up 6%. Oh wait, hang on, that's only the one day. Let's go back a little bit here. From peak of $65.90 per share, Nikola's stock now down approximately 90%. I once again refer you to this bell curve. As I've said, the bell curve is real.
At some point, it gets just out of control, and you just have a misallocation of human capital, where people are doing things that are silly and not useful to their fellow human beings. And then those companies, there needs to be sort of an economic enema, if you will, to have everyone sort of shift uncomfortably in their seats. But the
I'm sorry, it's just I'm visualizing it. The economic enema.
Listen, it's got alliteration. So
this too shall pass.
This too shall pass. Eventually, the economic enema does its job. It clears out the pipes, if you will.
Yes.
And sort of the bullshit companies go bankrupt, and the ones that are doing useful products are prosperous.
Can anyone think of any bullshit companies that need to and will die during this economic enema? Let me know in the comments below. And on the flip side, any companies that are actually creating useful products that customers love that will not only survive, but thrive. And this is an important point to understand. During economic contractions, recessions, greatest opportunities for disruptive, innovative companies present themselves. As they say, only the strong shall survive. A company that isn't cash flow positive today, that needs to invest billions, tens of billions of dollars to get to a point where in the future, maybe they will be profitable, these companies are going to have a very difficult time surviving. I think one of the worst possible industries anyone could be in at this point in time is the automotive industry.
But there's certainly a lesson here that if one is making useful product and has a company that makes sense, make sure you're not running things too close to the edge from a capital standpoint. That you've got some capital reserves to last through irrational times. Because in the past, when there's been a recession, it has gone. It's amazing. It's flipped like a light switch. I mean, David, do you remember this from the PayPal, ex-PayPal days, when we raised $100 million in March of 2000? And we had the demand was so high, we had people like VCs like just literally without even a term sheet wiring money into our account.
We'll send the term sheet later.
they literally were like sleuth out our bank account number and wire money in. And we're like, where'd this come from? And it's like, so it was like they were literally fire hosing money in March of 2000. And then in April 2000, the market went into free fall, and it went from raising money was trivial to even good companies could not raise money in a month. So it's just important to bear in mind that, PayPal almost went bankrupt in 2000. We came close. But thankfully, we'd raised that $100 million in March 2000, without which we'd be in game over, basically. And we kind of saw it coming. So it's like we got the X-Confinity merger done in like 3 weeks and raised $100 million because we were like, we see this coming to an end pretty soon. And then a month later, it was like, a nightmare, basically. And anyway, so it's just important to make sure if you're a healthy company, you got some capital to get through things, and then what's your costs, and if it is a recession, which more likely than not it is a recession. I'm not saying it is, but it probably is, then just watch your cash flow and get to positive cash flow as soon as you can. But I think we probably are in a recession, and that recession will get worse. But these things pass, and then there will be boom times again. But it'll probably be some tough going for, I don't know, a year. Maybe 12 to 18 months is usually the amount of time that it takes for a correction to happen.
So let's talk about what this might mean for Tesla stock, EV startups, and legacy automotive manufacturers. First, let's talk about the implications for the dinosaurs, manufacturers of internal combustion engine vehicles. The companies who are loudly and proudly bragging about how many tens of billions of dollars they're going to be investing transitioning to electric vehicles. The companies whose core product today, the internal combustion engine vehicle, is a relic, a fossil, outdated technology that no consumer with functioning grey matter will be buying within just a few years, that need to somehow completely reinvent their business, learn how to develop an electric motor, to innovate in batteries, to become incredibly skilled in software, whose businesses are a financial dumpster fire. Let's not even talk about the financing attached to securities, assets, aka ICE vehicles that'll be worthless in just a few years' time. How might these companies fare when they head to market and go, we need to raise another $10 billion to transition to electric vehicles? I know it's a recession and all, but I mean, look at us. We make cars. EVs are just the same as internal combustion engine vehicles. Please give us some money, and then some more money, and then some more money. Here's what happens. Well, it depends who they're asking for money. The people they're asking for money are brain-dead morons and don't see that ICE vehicles are literal fossils already. They're being disrupted, and consumers will have to be morons to be buying these things within just a few years' time, because EVs will already have reached purchase price parity in terms of sticker price and have dramatically lower total cost of ownership. If these companies can find enough morons out there who are willing to throw money around and, as Elon said, have it rain money on fools, maybe they'll be okay. But what if capital allocators become a little bit more skeptical? What if they start to question, hang on a minute, are people even going to be buying ICE vehicles in the future? If they're not, what happens to this business? Wait a minute, I think they're going bankrupt. I probably am not going to give them the billions of dollars they're after because I'm not going to get it back. If you can't read between the lines, as I've been saying since day one on this channel, legacy automotive manufacturers are universally most will go bankrupt before the end of the decade, with or without a recession. A recession, of course, will simply speed up this already inevitable process. There will be few survivors, if any. The vast majority of legacy automotive manufacturers will go bankrupt this decade. Best case scenario, few of them survive through mergers and acquisitions, but ultimately end up limping into the 2030s as a shadow of their former selves, selling a fraction of their peak vehicle sales in past times. Catastrophic contraction at best, and complete annihilation at worst. So what does this mean for EV startups who don't have the same overhang as legacy automotive manufacturers, but are trying to do something they've never done before? Profitably mass produce a compelling electric vehicle that consumers really want to buy, which basically just means they need to out Tesla on everything, steal all of Tesla's best engineers, steal their technology, their IP, do whatever it takes. Of course, the probability of this occurring is vanishingly small, but it is above zero. And again, I go back to the idea of raising capital. Now, some of the EV makers at the moment, and when I say EV maker, what I really mean is companies that say they're going to make EVs and today, well, maybe they're cobbling together a few hundred or a few thousand, but still I wouldn't even consider an EV maker. They're just a hope and dream with a name and a brand. There are a few of these companies today who have many billions of dollars on the balance sheet and can easily last 1, 2, maybe 2.5 years without needing to raise capital again. They might survive. Keyword being might. Many of these startups, however, have been planning to consistently and frequently raise capital to continue funding their money-losing operation until they eventually reach volume production and can eventually start actually making some money. Here's the question I have. In the depths of a recession, with all the doom and gloom, allocators of capital being much more reserved in how they're investing, thinking to themselves, are we definitely going to get this money back? Is there any risk here? Should any of these EV startups need to raise capital to head to the marketplace, they're going to have a very, very difficult time, especially when the first bankruptcies in the automotive industry start appearing. Just imagine what happens when Fordstown Motors goes bust, or Nikola. Well, General Motors announces they have going concerns. They may not make it through the end of the year. How likely do you think that allocators of capital will be to throw money at these companies? If they're not suffering from brain damage, that is. My answer would be extremely unlikely. I cannot think of a worse industry to be in at this point in time than automotive manufacturing, both ICE and EV startup. I expect we'll see an enormous consolidation in this space, aka stupendous numbers of bankruptcies. And finally, what does this mean for Tesla, who currently has approximately $20 billion worth of cash and cash equivalents at their disposal and is banking multiple billions of dollars in free cash flow every quarter? Cash flow which is set to increase dramatically in the coming quarters and years? Well, if we think about it at a high level, Tesla is flush with cash. They have more money than they can possibly spend. They've told us this. They can't spend their money any faster. They're increasing their net income enormously quarter after quarter. Austin and Berlin, ramping currently, will produce stupid amounts of cash flow for Tesla. They're not going to need to raise money again, period. Unless they come up with an idea that is so capital intensive that some idiot like me without enough imagination can't even think about it, can't even conceive of such an opportunity. Tesla will never need to go to the markets and raise capital ever again. So this means that during a contraction, Tesla continues to accelerate their lead, to accelerate their production capacity, to pull further ahead of the so-called competition, continue to innovate in terms of technology, manufacturing techniques to drive costs down even further, to reach greater scale, to benefit even more from economies of scale, to further their unassailable lead when it comes to manufacturing, battery costs, thermal management, software, full self-driving. This is a period in which Tesla's lead could accelerate even further. And as Elon points out, this economic enema will flush out a load of garbage companies, meaning the so-called competition that's been coming all over itself instead of for Tesla for the last decade or so, there'll be even less of this competition coming for Tesla. I guess the short story here is if we are in fact in a recession, if economic times are in fact worsening, if the next 12 to 18 or so months are brutally painful, in which it's almost impossible to raise capital unless you're already printing billions of dollars every quarter, the short story is that the next 12, 18, 24 months could be a massive accelerant in both the demise of legacy automotive, many EV startups, and an accelerant for Tesla's continued dominance, allowing the company to further extend their already unassailable lead. As automotive manufacturers begin dropping like flies and filing for bankruptcy, Tesla's potential market expands further. If I had to sum it up in just a few words, great for Tesla, horrendous, catastrophic, fatal for not Tesla. Don't say I didn't warn you. Let me know in the comments below, which EV startups do you think may go bankrupt in the next few years, and which legacy automotive manufacturers won't survive the decade? Actually, a better question would be which legacy automotive manufacturers will survive the decade. And finally, don't forget, you can join Patreon with the card in the corner or the link at the pinned comment. Well over 100 exclusive pieces of content, loads of perks, plus up-to-date access to my Tesla price targets. And if you're at the investor supporter level and above, you can also access my full Tesla valuation model, major updates to which will be coming soon. So, see you over on Patreon. I'm Stephen Mark Ryan, this is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, there's a bunch of ways you can support the channel, access exclusive content and perks, and get some free stocks and crypto. Check out the links in the pinned comment below. You can also pick up some Tesla, Elon, and investment themed merch in the merch store. If you want to take it to the next level, join thousands of members on Patreon to gain exclusive access to over 100 Q&A videos, loads of exclusive content, exclusive access to my up-to-date 10-year Tesla stock price targets, and even access my Tesla valuation model at the investor support level and above. So check out the links in the pinned comment below, and thanks for your support. And if you're still watching, you're awesome. I read every single comment on this channel and I really appreciate your feedback. So if you've got any thoughts on today's video, questions, comments, or suggestions for a new video, let me know in the comments below. Check the cards on screen now to browse the merch store, join Patreon, or watch the next video.